Everybody likes the idea of dividends, but not all dividend stocks are created equal. What if there was a way to find companies that not only pay their dividends consistently, but also raise them consistently over time? Well, I'm about to show you the Dividend Aristocrats. These are a special group of stocks that have a long history of consistently increasing their dividend payments. I'm going to go over exactly what they are and show you the easiest way to get exposure to these stocks as a UK investor. So which companies are Dividend Aristocrats? A company qualifies if it meets the following criteria. It's paid dividends consistently, it's increased its dividend annually, and it's done both of these things for a certain number of years consecutively. The most common group of them is the S&P 500 Dividend Aristocrats Index. A company is a member of this group if it's in the S&P 500 and it's increased its dividend annually every year for at least 25 consecutive years. But different regions around the world also have their own versions. Some examples of Dividend Aristocrats are companies like 3M, IBM, Target, and Kimberly-Clark. So why are they good investments? Well, as you might imagine, these are very stable companies. They're usually giants in the corporate world, well past their early days of explosive growth. They're often household names whose products are still in demand even in recessions. And they're resilient. They've proved their ability to stay consistently profitable and increase dividends even during some tough economic downturns. And they can help you build a diversified portfolio. Since they come from various different sectors of the economy, from healthcare to retail to construction, owning a selection of these stocks can help spread your risk and bring diversification to your portfolio. So how can we invest in Dividend Aristocrats from the UK? You could look up the individual companies and buy their stock, but a much safer and more diversified way to do this is through ETFs. I'll point out a couple of good ones now. So the closest thing we have to the S&P 500 Dividend Aristocrats is the SPDR S&P US Dividend Aristocrats UCITS ETF, which tracks the S&P High Yield Dividend Aristocrats Index. As I'm recording this video, it has a 12-month distribution yield of 2.28% and a total expense ratio of 0.35%. If you don't want to be restricted to just the USA though, there's also a global option you could consider, which is the S&P Global Dividend Aristocrats UCITS ETF. This one has a slightly higher 4.31% 12-month yield, which accounts for the fact that globally, there are countries that pay much higher dividends than companies in the US typically do. However, it is slightly more expensive with a 0.45% total expense ratio.